Be warned, sir. Do not slumber too deeply, for the man with no nose is coming for you.
Did this man just predict Arthur Morgan's fate? The man with no nose equals death because death is represented as a skeleton in a cloak, which is a bit weird, but you know what? What I'm trying to say here is the Grim Reaper is pictured as not having a nose, but in Red Dead Redemption lore, we know he's got a fucking top hat and a mustache, so I'm not sure what to think. Oh, look at that, he also has a nose. Maybe he's just a crazy old man. Anyways, I haven't even introduced the video yet, so why don't we get to that before we actually start discussing this. So at various locations while traveling the world of Red Dead Redemption 2, you might have come across this old man. Now, this guy has an interesting gift, being that though he does speak in riddles, if you give him $1, he will accurately predict the character's future, whether that be as Arthur Morgan or John Marston after him. So we're here to beg the question, who is this man and how come he can apparently predict the future? Now, getting his name isn't hard because it's actually one of his lines of dialogue, as sometimes he will say, "Old man Cassidy is not old crazy man Cassidy," which both name drops him and validates what he's saying is not a man on crack. I mean, he could very well be a crackhead, but you know what he's saying here is, he's not, basically. But he is. He's a crackhead. And even if he's not a crackhead, he's still a bit odd and comes out with some mad nonsense. But is it nonsense, or is it just a riddle?
Your father is seduced by the one with the forked tongue. It's no use hoping.
This, for example, what does this mean? Who's Arthur's father that he's referencing? Not his actual father, his father figure. Dutch. Now, who is the one with the forked tongue? Well, someone with a forked tongue is somebody who's deliberately saying one thing but meaning something else entirely, which kind of sums up Micah's character, who has definitely manipulated Dutch in the main story. And thus, blind man Cassidy here is clearly warning Arthur that his struggle is futile, and thus we can deduce that the blind man is sincere. He's unfortunately not a crackhead, could be Gavin still, but you never know. Now, he doesn't just know about Arthur Morgan's future, but afterwards in the epilogue, he also knows about John Marston's.
They will come for you, friend. When they do, you will not have a choice. But you have lived better than most.
So what does that mean? I can think of two things that happened to John Marston that shape the events of Red Dead Redemption that this could possibly allude to. The first one is when the Bureau leverages John with his family into hunting down the last members of the Vandalin gang. And the second event it makes me think of is John Marston's death, where Edgar Ross turns on John and goes to kill him. So now we know that this blind beggar is for real. He's not just stalking Arthur Morgan. Nope, he's a genuine fortune teller. Another interesting thing to mention is, when you kill this old man if you so choose to, players have reported that he'll just come back. He'll just respawn elsewhere at another time. Which is interesting, though it doesn't really say much when another character who does exactly that is Gavin's friend. But back to this guy being all-knowing or having fortune-telling abilities. Another player mentioned that he also helped them find treasure by saying something along the lines of, "Palm trees and beaches seek the black flower," which if you head to this location on the map you will find a house, and in there is a painting of palm trees on a beach, and in front of it is a black flower. Inside the drawer here there is an ancient necklace, so it seems as if the blind man here helped us find treasure. which is very useful if you need to make money, but you know what, cool. Means that the blind man can also show us things. But at the same time it begs the question, could there be more to this? My first question is obviously, whose house even is this? Is it the old man's? If not, why did he guide us to somewhere, take an ancient necklace from a drawer, if he didn't own it? Did he just tell us to rob somewhere? This guy doesn't give me evil vibes, and this house looks quite unique in its own design, so I'm going to say that this might be the man's house. He might not be homeless. He might just be a traveller. A blind traveller who can't actually work because he's blind and therefore he makes money through begging. Maybe that's what's going on here. Or maybe the blind man's Satan and he just told us to rob an ancient necklace that probably has some sentimental value to the owner from some random guy's house. Also, to own something ancient is quite a rare thing, so could it have a spiritual value as well? Is this just a regular blind man, or is he something else? Something magical, something omniscient? Is he a god? I think he's just an old man who happens to be really good at telling people's fortunes. Like, it's not impossible. I once visited a fortune teller and she told me that randomly one day I would just get violent out of nowhere. Then I punched her in the mouth and ran away. That was a joke. Or was it? Anywho, does this old man have a moral compass? That is the question. So apparently this player was setting a prisoner free when passing by the blind man, and after letting the prisoner free, he went to the blind man, but he was in the fetal position and said something along the lines of, "I sense bad energy returning. Get away." So it appears as if the old man is on the side of the righteous. So if he is more than human, which would explain his fortune-telling abilities, at least we know he's not evil. So, does blind man Cassidy's expansive knowledge extend to the knowledge of the strange man? Well, old man Cassidy does say this.
Two strangers seek thee. One from this world. Perhaps one from another. One brings hatred. I'm not so sure what the other brings.
The mysterious one, who even blind man Cassidy's unsure of, could very well be the strange man because his intentions are completely unclear. But blind man Cassidy's passage goes, "Two strangers seek thee," which is just a ye old fancy way of saying you. So who's the other one? One brings hatred, obviously the one that's not the strange man. So who is that? I'd say probably Edgar Ross. And since the other stranger is perhaps of another world and blind man Cassidy isn't sure who he is or what he intends, it would seem as if he's referencing the strange man. And since we devised that the strange man is death himself, it would appear as if he doesn't really have an agenda beyond collecting souls. So basically blind man Cassidy's riddle boils down to one man will kill you, the other will take you to the afterlife. Which is very ominous. The only thing that I can't find anything on is reasoning as to why blind man Cassidy can see into the future. That part is completely lost on me and I couldn't tell you what's going on. He's not entirely sure as to who or what the strange man is, so I wouldn't say he's a deity to that caliber, or maybe even a tool. Maybe he's just a fortune teller, which is the most likely scenario, except guiding you to treasure as well doesn't seem to be quite on the same page as fortune telling, even if it is still just very loose. But in Arthur's journal, he refers to the blind man as a prophet. It reads, "Met a strange guy. Thought he was a prophet. Blind." Or if you're playing as John Marston as you get that in your journal, it'll be the same passage but with a shitter drawing. So I'd say that blind man Cassidy is in fact a prophet of some form. A prophet of what though? Now that's something that I have no idea about. From a technical side of things, he is the developers talking to us through the game to let us know what's happening next. Think of him as Red Dead Redemption's Michael the Liar. Except blind man Cassidy is structured in a way that doesn't actually break the fourth wall. And although why he's there is completely unknown, at least we know he's a prophet of some variety. He's even sometimes used as a moral compass to help us make better decisions and increase our honour.
You're a fool, fiend, but not so much of a fool as you think. Nor such a fiend. The past is done, and the future yet to come. Make your final moments your best moments, sir. Know glory and forget about shame. You have learned the most important lesson of all. That only one thing matters. And all else is lies. Embrace those who love you, not the memory of those who pretended to. Enjoy the world while you can. Enjoy today. For tomorrow awaits us all. I have nothing more for you now. Go use what you know Don't end up like me. Don't waste any more time with an old blind man. Go out there and become who you are.
So it's Rockstar telling us to be a better person in the game. And that seems to be what's going on with Blind Man Cassidy. The blind beggar, if you will. But anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to go ahead, leave a like, subscribe, share the channel with your friends and all that wonderful stuff. Be sure to let me know if you think differently down in the comment section. If you've interpreted this blind man differently, be sure to let me know. Be sure to go ahead and follow me on Twitter. I would really appreciate that. And be sure to join the community Discord as well. We have a good time over there, so definitely don't miss out. And I'll see you all very soon with another video at some point.